My name is Jerry Mashesky with Balance Community Slackline Outfitters, and today we're going to be going over the Alpine WebLock 3.0 and how to use it and how to not use it as well. The first thing I'd like to go over is which connectors work and don't work with the Alpine WebLock 3.0. The first connector that I'd like to discuss is the Van Beest 5/8 inch bolt type shackle. As you can see here, it fits directly on the bolt of this 5/8 inch bolt type shackle. And when it's a good idea to use this configuration is on the static end of your long line or high line. And because the shackle is so large, it will accommodate a lot more loops of span set. And so, like I said, it should be good. It's a good idea to use it on a high line anchor where you need that extra room for rigging. The next connector that works really well with the Alpine WebLock 3.0 is the 7/16 inch bow shackle. As you can see, it fits directly on the pin, just like the Van Beest shackle does. And this shackle is great for the static end also when there's less room needed, or connecting directly to your pulleys. And it's a nice, lightweight, strong connector that works really well with the Alpine WebLock 3.0. The third connector that I'd like to discuss is the Omega Pacific 1/2 inch Modified D steel carabiner. As you can see, it sits really well on this carabiner, provided that you put the Alpine WebLock on the flat end of the carabiner, as opposed to this sharper end here, where the bend is really sharp. Because the anchor hole of the Alpine WebLock is so wide, it will not sit so well on a sharp bend like this. And so how I typically use this is I will clip the carabiner to whatever I'm attaching it to first, and slide that to the sharp end, leaving the flat end on the open end of the carabiner, and then clip it right to your WebLock, locking the carabiner. And as you can see, it sits really well on the flat end of that carabiner. And so, some connectors that will not work with the Alpine WebLock 3.0 are any form of quick link. As you can see, it will not fit through that anchor hole. And even if it did, the bend on a quick link is far too sharp for it to sit well on this wide anchor hole of the Alpine WebLock 3.0. Even a Delta quick link will not fit. So it is ideal to stick to these three connectors here when working with the Alpine WebLock 3.0 in a variety of situations that you may use it in. Alright, the next thing I'd like to go over is the installation and deinstallation of your webbing inside the Alpine WebLock 3.0. So the first method I'd like to go over is the single wrap method, which is the same as the diagram on the side of the device. So we're going to take our webbing and we're going to form a bite, roughly where we want to anchor off the webbing. A bite is just simply a fold in the line, like so. And we want to make sure that the walking line, the line we're going to be walking on, is on the top, and the tail is on the bottom. So take your bite and pass it behind the center diverter, just like that. Wrap it around the center diverter, remove the front pin, and put the bite such that the front pin, or the holes for the front pin, are in the middle of the bite, and reinstall that. And you'll notice that it's locked off, but if you pull on the tail, like so, you can adjust where it's anchored, but it will not move in the other direction. This method is great for instances where you need to adjust pre-tension in the line, maybe to make your pulley system shorter, or you're using a line grip and you need to pull slack out to install your webbing, and it's good for long lines or high line usage. To uninstall the webbing from this method, just simply remove the front pin like that and pull out the bite. Put the front pin back in. Alright, the next method I'd like to go over is the 1.5 wrap method. For this method, you're going to have access to the end of your webbing. And to install the webbing in the Alpine WebLock 3.0, take the end and pass it behind the center diverter, like so. Pull out about 24 to 36 inches, and take the end again and pass it behind the center diverter once more, just like so. Pull out the slack, then take that end again and pass it up between the front pin and the center diverter, just like that. Wrap it around, and then go up behind the center diverter, underneath that first layer that you wrapped around already. Pull it through, dress it nicely, and there you go. That's the 1.5 inch or 1.5 wrap method. You'll notice that pulling on both tails, it will not budge. This is non-adjustable and it absolutely will not slip. This is great for any time where you do not need to adjust where you're anchoring in the device, such as the static side of a long line, or the static side of a high line, or even the tensioning side of a high line. In those instances where you want to be absolutely sure it will not slip, this is the way to go. 1.5 wrap. So if you push the bite through like that, you'll notice that the bite goes around the device 1.5 times and stops at that center diverter. So that's why it's called the 1.5 wrap method. To uninstall the webbing from the Alpine WebLock 3.0, just remove that front pin and pull it out. So the last method I'd like to go over is the double wrap method. To use this method, form a bite once again such that the walking line is on top and the tail is on the bottom. Pass that bite behind the center diverter, same as before. Pull out a lot of the slack and pass that bite around the device and behind the center diverter once more. Now remove the front pin, put the bite over the holes for the front pin, and reinstall the front pin, dressing it nice. And once again, this method is non-adjustable and it absolutely will not slip up to about 95% of the strength of the webbing. And so this is great for those instances, once again, where you do not want the line to slip, absolutely, but you don't have access to that tail and you can't do the 1.5 wrap. The double wrap is the way to go. So if you follow this bite through the device, you'll notice that it's going around the device 2 times completely and then to the front pin. So that's a very effective way to make sure that it does not slip. And so to uninstall the webbing from the WebLock in this method, just remove that front pin once again and pull it out. We'll go over some more advanced methods in the next section. The next few methods I'd like to go over are advanced usage methods with the Alpine WebLock 3.0. The first of which is using the device upside down. When this is useful is during highline situations when you have a double line or double webbing highline and you're using Alpine WebLock 3.0 on both lines on the static side. As you can see, they sit very nicely stacked on top of each other, and the top one is upside down and the bottom one is right side up. If you stack them both right side up, you'll notice that the profile on the bottom of the device gets in the way a little bit and it'll start to tweak. So it's better to use it upside down. And so there's a special way to install the webbing to ensure there's no slippage and you're getting the maximum strength out of the device and the webbing. So what you're going to do is you're going to form a bite in your line where you would like to anchor it, such that the walking line is on top and the tail is on the bottom. And have your Alpine WebLock 3.0 upside down like so, and take that bite and pass it up through the device behind the center diverter, and then wrap it around, go up through again behind the center diverter, and then to the front pin. It installs very similarly to the double wrap method, but it is not the double wrap method. As you can see here, what is normally our tail is now our walking line, and our actual tail is going around the device, going through, and is coming out the bottom right here. And that's really nice for being able to tie it off to a shackle or the bolt or the tree as a preliminary backup. And so there we go. This will not slip in both directions. You can adjust it, and it's great for any point in the high line where you're having your device upside down and you need to ensure no slippage and with the maximum strength. So what you want to do to uninstall it is remove the front pin and pull out the bite like so. And then the next method I'd like to go over is using two pieces of webbing in one web lock. I'd like to say a few things about this first. This method absolutely should not ever be used on a high line. If you're going to use two lines on a high line, they need to be anchored separately. Never ever use one single device to anchor two lines on a high line. So that being said, let's take our second piece of webbing and stack it on top of our first, just like so. Now fold a bite, or make a bite where you'd like to anchor it. Both lines are in there, as you can see. There's two webbings. Form that bite, pass it behind the center diverter, just like so, and do basically the single wrap method, but with two webbings. Voila, we have double webbing installation in one web lock. Both of these are the walking lines, and both of these are the tails, and you can still adjust tension, just like that, but it will not slip this way. Great training method for in the park when you want to set up a line that's similar to like a high line, but is not a high line. Yeah, it's good, absolutely great training for setting up a high line. And to uninstall the webbing from the device, just remove the pin, pull out the bite, and you're good to go. So that is how you use the Alpine WebLock 3.0. And to view more videos like this, visit balancecommunity.com or slackscience.com.